All right, let's get this rolling. We're at 9:04. So we have our new setup and concept, which is cool. And what I think we should do is today, let's go through the topic. I'm going to start off with Ross Stout. Ross, the boss, is on. And we're going to talk about how to scale without burning out. I think that's a really good topic because I've heard a lot of agents say recently, hey, I feel burnt out, or I'm trying and things just aren't clicking and I'm trying to scale my business and so forth. So I think that's really, really important. And Dave's on too. I think both of them can speak pretty extensively to that. So I wanted to start off with them. And what we'll do, guys, is we'll go around the horn, and then the last 15, 20 minutes, we'll do Q&A. I think that's the best way to do it so we can have everybody kind of involved, right? And remember, invite somebody to this mastermind. It could change their weekend. It could change their month, could change their year, could change their life. So that's what we have to do. We got to get everybody rolling. All right, let's come out of the gates with Ross the boss. Talk to me. Let's do it.
Oh, what's up, everybody? All right, so scaling without burnout, that is a trick, right? So um, you just have to find out what you like, right? And you need to eliminate what you don't like to do. So first of all, you need to have a vision. And if you don't have a vision for what it is you want your business to look like, when you start adding people to it, then they have nothing to buy into. They don't have any seats to sit in, and you don't have anything to mold into an actual business, right? So what I've been learning a lot about recently is you can't scale on grind and hustle. Like you can't. Like that's a great way to break into the industry. It's a great way to find out what your processes are. It's a great way to find out what it is you like to do inside of this great industry of real estate. But you can't scale that. You can't duplicate yourself, and you can't welcome anybody into your mind to see your vision and accept exactly what it is you want to do. You have to relay that. You have to have processes, systems, and operations in place so that everyone can buy into what you're doing, so that when they buy in, then that leads to different things for them to do within your organization and scale from there. So for me, just real quickly, because I know there's a lot of smart people on here, you have to express your vision. And if you don't have a vision to express, then you can't scale. So that's just the starting point. And I can tell you about my journey. I could talk till I'm blue in the face because it's so fun. But we'll hear from around here, and I can answer direct questions as they come up. I think you're on mute, Pete.
I muted myself out on that so you couldn't hear the country music playing in the background. Dave's right off the slopes. He had broken ribs. He went off one of those high jumps like in the Olympics. He was doing aerials and stuff. Hurt his ribs. Now he's back in action.
Make me laugh.
See?
Ouch.
Dave, talk about how you scaled your team. I know there's a lot of people out there that are thinking about either starting a team or how to scale a team without burning out, because it does take a lot of energy and effort. So I wanted your kind of take on that.
Yeah, it really starts with people, right? And essentially what I did, well, I started the team concept in Park City, and also, frankly, the team concept back in 2000 in Utah. And I did it because of my background, right? So my background in business was a lot of different things. And I realized that I'm really good at a few things, and I really suck at a lot of things, right? And so what I did is I just said, I need to figure out, first of all, I had to get rid of the perfection thing, like, oh, nobody's going to do this better than me, and so I'm going to do everything. That was one of the things that you have to get by. But I just learned very early on that if you want to build a team, you do it with the people, and that's what I did. So you have to look at where you are in your business. You have to look and see what your goals are. And then what you have to do is you have to add people to fill the roles, especially the roles that you're not good at or you don't like to do. Okay. So that's what I did. My coach back in 2000 said, you need an assistant. And I'm like, I don't have any money for an assistant. He goes, he's put it on a credit card. I don't care because you're doing too many activities that are making it so you can't make more money, right? And he used an example, if you're making two, three, four, 500, $1,000 like I do an hour in prospecting and lead generation, why wouldn't you hire somebody for $20 or $25 to do all of your admin? And he goes, do you want to be a person that is making $25 an hour or a thousand? And basically that's pretty obvious. But then he said, not only that, the person that's going to help you, they're twice as good as you. So you're not even saving $25 an hour. You're saving $12.50 an hour. So it's just ridiculous, right? So the thing is, so what I did is I just looked at my business as a whole and I wanted to kind of come up with a plan. And that's what I did. And then I slowly but surely added the people that filled the different roles. And of course, there's buyer's agents, and then there's marketing people, and then there's, different people. But um, instead of doing a whole presentation of what I did or what Ross did or Pete, what you've done and whatever, I think what we should do today is just like share a few things really quickly, all of us, and then open it up to the people and that have questions. And then that way we can like give them some very specific ways, because I always say in real estate, when one person has an issue or one person has a problem, there's a whole bunch of other people that have the same problem, but they're not talking about it. So anyway, instead of me just talking a whole bunch, or because Ross said it so good, I mean, if you don't have anything, Ross and and Pete, we can talk to you till 4 o'clock this afternoon on what we did and how we did it and all that. But let's be specific of how we can help.
Yeah, half the people could talk till 4 in the morning. Catherine, I want to go to you. I know lately you've been in a lot of transition with your team. Can you just touch upon that and what you're doing to kind of maintain your momentum?
Yes. So I've had an assistant for 3 years, and she left because she fell in love and moved to San Francisco. And then I had two assistants who only stayed like 3 months. So now I just found a new assistant again. But I will say this as a solo agent, for me, it was definitely so important to look at what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, and basically be able to hire somebody who can do everything I don't like to do and I'm not good at. And that really free me to be so happy that I can just do what I really love to do, which is finding the clients, negotiating the relationship, getting creative on the marketing side, these kind of things. In terms of not burning out, I feel it's so important to really try to get a few vacation in every year, because when you look forward to it, and then you make so many more things happen before you go in vacation, because it's urgency, but then so much more happens. So I'm pretty good at getting my vacation in. So that would be one thing I would suggest. I'm not great at getting days off, honestly. So yeah, to me it was. I have two assistants actually now. This way, when one is gone, I can still have one. If I go on vacation, I have two people helping. So it's such a kind of a relief to know that my clients are going to be taken care of. And I know that I will not make half of the money I'm making without having my assistant because I could not produce what I'm producing. And even though I was broke when I started this business, I got an assistant within a year because I knew that's how I will be able to make way more money. So yes, you absolutely have to bite the bullet and get an assistant because it's going to change everything.
Yeah, I think that's super important, you guys. If you feeling burnout or you're trying to keep all the balls in the air, take that leap of faith, hire a right-hand person to help you out, get a lot of that stuff off your plate, and focus on the things that you do well that make money and drive business and prospect and so forth. I want to go over to Bobby. I know Bobby's team has been in transition somewhat, and he's been talking with me, and I hope it's okay to share this. And we've been kind of going through different techniques and other things to handle not getting burnt out, but to handle moving forward and setting up his team to continue it to keep going and being profitable. So, Bobby, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, I think right now there's definitely a lot of transition. People who are not successful today, maybe they were doing great a few years ago, but these days it takes a different set of skills to go out there and be successful. And so, I've unfortunately lost some people that have been with me a long time, like 9, 10 years type of situations. And so, it's not easy to go through that transition, and but at the same time, it's kind of a challenge. It's now it's a reboot, and I get to reboot it with the way that I want to run my team and moving forward, and especially with the lessons learned. So, but yeah, that's about it. That's all I got to say about that. So, but as far as the today's event, so basically, I've got it down into 6 quick points. Catherine, you hit it on the head with the planning vacations. Not only planning vacations, but planning days off, planning date nights, doing all the things that fill up your tank, whether it's playing pickleball, going to the gym. If you don't do those things, it's very easy. This business will easily make you feel burned out very quickly. So you got to put those kinds of things into your schedule, do them every week, every month, and just plan it out. The next thing you need, plan 2 or item 2, is be clear with your plan and make sure all your systems are dialed in. Because if you are running your business in an efficient manner, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to scale and keep adding on to your team. But if you don't have a plan and every single day you're coming in, you're like, what am I going to do today? If it's not scheduled every single day in your planner, this is what I'm doing, then that's gonna slow you down. So, and then the third item is you need to be whatever you're the best at. So, I know for Dave, it's probably prospecting. He's going to be calling his past clients, reaching out to people, having conversations. If that's what you're best at, then that's what you should be doing the most of, and then outsource everything else. Because that's what's going to be bringing in the bacon. You are the rainmaker. You have to remember that always. That never changes.
How can I help?
Yep. So, and then, the fourth item, make sure you have a solid niche, something that you're really, really good at. So it could be expireds, could be door knocking, whatever it is, open houses, make sure you're doing that, consistently. Next one is build, repeat, and referral business. That is the easiest, quickest way to get a sale, is talking to people that that you already have worked with. You're calling them on a regular basis. You're doing quarterly check-ins. You're doing home anniversary calls, client events, things like that. The last item is every week, consider at the end of the week doing a weekly CEO meeting with yourself. And you're going to ask yourself these questions. What's my pipeline review? You're going to go through your pipeline. What kind of business you've got coming in. If you don't know that on a regular basis, then that makes it harder for you to scale your business. You want to do a marketing review, you want to do a health review, and then the last one is a relationship review. So for those of you who have a spouse, those kinds of things, if that's not right, nothing's right. So you got to make sure all of the components in your life are on all cylinders. So that is it. That's all I got.
That's great stuff. Cam, I'm going to go over to you. I don't know if you've had burnt out or you felt burnt out or you were trying to balance the team and balance your sunscreen business, but what do you do to not get burnout, and just give me 2 tips that you can share with people right now in this market to kind of have balance.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real quick, and I have a thing that's going to literally open all your minds up and just blow you away. This is going to be the most transformative 7 minutes you've ever given me, and I've given you a lot. So burnout, and I've just gotten through this after 2 years wanting to jump off bridges. Literally, I've figured it out. Burnout is totally mental. It is not real. You're not going to actually burn up and die, right? So we need to restructure mental. We need to go back to basics. To fix that, you have your goals. You have to have goals that you're going towards. If you have nowhere to go, you won't go anywhere. Delegation, like everybody here has said, you have to have a team around you. You have to have that team around you. They are the ones that continue helping you move when you're slowed down. And then the last part is the reward. Now, we just heard that one too. You got to make it a vacation. You got to go buy a car. You got whatever it is, whatever your reward is, you have to do that. That is just the basics of life, you guys, to keep you so that you don't want to end up jumping off bridges. If you lose your goals, if you lose your people around you, and you lose your rewards, there is nothing to live for. Now, I know that sounds drab, but that's the truth. Now, here's the part that is going to expand everyone's business and world, and it's going to change everything, you guys. 16 days ago, we have a new program that has come out on the computer that has revolutionized the world. It is allowing me, as you can see in the background, to hire an assistant at like $1 a task, and it can do anything, and it can do everything, literally. Like build a website for $1, and if this website works and it looks amazing, it can reply to your emails, it can read your emails, it can do everything. This is going to be the biggest transformative change in business. All of these assistants that we've had, maybe like VAs and ISAs and all of this stuff that you pay $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a year, we can now replace them with a computer, a computer that can talk, and it talks and it really does it well. And you can completely replace these people. If you guys want to learn more, reach out to me. This is going to be not just your business changing, this is going to change the whole world. And it came out about 15 days ago. So you guys know about it before everyone else. If you want to learn more, I'm happy to chat about it with you.
Love it. Matt B, go ahead. Talk to me about not getting burnt out. I mean, you used to have a full head of hair. Did that fall out based on your teams and all your voyages over the years?
It reminded me of this topic reminded me of a story. So when I first got into real estate, which was in 1999, and I started with Realty Executives in Carlsbad, there were 200 agents in that office. And within about 3 or 4 months, hired an assistant, like a full-time assistant who actually worked in my office. And I was the only agent out of 200 that had an assistant back then, which is pretty unbelievable, but it was true. And within a year, I was the number 1 agent in that office. So I think delegation is huge, and I don't know what Cam is talking about, but I'm very curious. So I'm definitely going to call you after this call. Yeah. But it is amazing with AI, what we can do these days. So, I mean, it really comes down to delegation. And, for our business, we are not really in the real estate business. We're in the lead generation business. So we're in the marketing business. And so one thing that I always want to mention, because I think it's so important, is to have your marketing on autopilot. Because if you don't have it on autopilot, you get busy and you don't do it. And when you stop marketing, guess what? Your leads stop coming in and your business stops. So you've got to always be marketing and generating leads. And I'm always amazed when I talk with agents and they tell me their business is slow. And then I ask them, what are you doing right now for marketing? And they go, I'm not really doing anything at the moment because, I don't have the money or whatever. You've got to, even if you're broke, you got to be constantly marketing. So if you can't afford to do direct mail, you got to go out and knock on doors, or everything works and nothing doesn't. So, but as far as avoiding burnout, yeah, you've got to delegate, and you need help, and you can't do it all yourself. And then I think, I'm sure somebody's mentioned this, but I think for me, the best way for me to avoid burnout is to be active, especially as we get older. Is to do something, whether you go to the gym or you surf or you run or whatever you do. I hurt my shoulder the beginning of this. Well, I guess it was in December, and I couldn't really do anything for about 6 weeks, and I really was starting to go crazy. So for me, I have to be active and exercise. I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, I think that's.
But so I'd say delegation and exercise. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great advice, because that'll prevent you from burning out, right? You got to take care of yourself, and it's all a mental game, 7.5 inches, right? That's what everybody's dealing with. I think that's a big, big thing. John Pacilio, hey, just touch upon, I know you've had some teams in the past. Have you ever felt burnout, and what did you do to avoid it?
Talking to me, right, Pete? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I think what I like to do, I'm a learner and I'm a connector. Okay. So right now I've got a commercial guy listening in to our group, and he's picking up some pointers. And we have another commercial guy coming in, and we're gonna create some camaraderie and do some more deals with commercial. I like to learn new things. I own a commercial building, and I just like to do new things as well as the things that I've been doing for a long time. So I think for me, that's a big piece of it. We all get, we ride this roller coaster. I'm more of a sprinter. I'll get into something and I'll sprint for a long, maybe 3 months on something, and then I'll get kind of bored with it. But the underlying foundational business, calling your clients, running around, coaching kids, getting referrals. It's a big business of mine. That's always coming in, right? So I try to figure out what's going to be the best next thing as I'm working on my foundational business. So from a burnout standpoint, I don't go to the gym as much as I should, and this week I just committed I'm going to get there 3 times this week. So. I know I could do better on health and some other areas, but I get buried in business, but I love it. So I hopefully that helps somebody out there.
No, I like that. Let's go over the X-Men. X-Men, when you had teams and so forth, and how did you avoid burnout, and how did you scale? What was the first step? Give me step number 1.
Well, step number 1 is, for me, step number 1 was just generating leads, right? So as Dave and Ross know, to run a team successfully, you have to have some kind of fruit, right? That the agents want to join your team for, and that's leads. So, but like Catherine, you mentioned, I think one of the biggest things about hiring is using a DISC profile. So I'm big into the DISC profile for agents and assistants. You never want to hire somebody that is like you, ever, because you're just going to butt heads, right? So, and that's a big mistake a lot of people do, right? Oh, I like this person because they're like me, right? Forget it, right? So that's never going to work out. And I ran into that mistake too when I was hiring. So I always do the DISC profile. For an assistant, you want to, SC personality. I'm a high D, high I, as most of the leaders are on this group, women and men. That's what I would assume. So SC personality, DISC profile. If you guys don't know it, we could do a whole call on it. It's really good to know. Yeah, and burnout happens. I mean, I think if you have a good running team and you have people that are loyal and stick around for a long time, that reduces burnout for sure. So, rehiring and doing all that kind of stuff causes burnout.
Yeah, no, you're right on. I mean, I think that's a big thing. I mean, I'll just share this with you guys. Bobby worked with me for a long time. My heart's full because this is the same guy who said to me, 25 years ago that he didn't need a day off and that he was good and all this other stuff. So he finally learned the Jedi mind trick that you have to block off a day for yourself, because it will not be good for your mental stamina in this game. It's a game. We're playing a game, right? We're matching people with houses. It's the largest asset outside of their kids will ever pay for. And you have to be in the game, right? We're in the top 3: food, water, shelter. That's what people need to live. They don't need necessarily AI. They don't need necessarily Apple or Tesla. They need food, water, and shelter. Okay, so all you Bitcoin people, I'm just telling you, people don't really need that to live. They need these top three things. All right, everybody, let's open it up. Put on your camera. We want to see you. I don't care if you have bedhead. I don't care if you look like you haven't slept in a week or if you're in sweats. Let's ask some questions. Let's get it going. There's a ray of sunshine. Amy Andrews, otherwise known as Double A. Here she comes. Michael Hebert, look at, he's out there. He's got his National Predators hat. Oh no, that's the Mammoth, Utah Mammoth going. And let's start opening this up to questions, and we'll answer your question. Look at Marianne Turi's there, my favorite Canadian. I love it, eh? Okay, so let's ask some questions that you need to get clarified on either building a team or not having burnout. Just use the hand raising feature in it. Michael, go ahead. Ask me a question. I'm picking on you.
Okay, that would be this, Michael?
Yes, it would.
Well, first of all, I mean, great stuff here. I may be going off on a little bit of a vector here because my background until fairly recently was being a broker, and did about 4,000 transactions a year with the company. And I love the whole vacation idea because I totally fried. I would plan vacations, be with my family, and tell them I'll see you about 1:00. And autoresponders and phone calls, voicemail saying you're an agent needing help, call this person. But the calls still kept coming through to me. So I absolutely burned out, and I did have backup. But if you're taking a vacation, you got to be able to totally shut off. And then also the part about physical activity, I had shut that down for a bit, and that's a huge issue. So I don't know that I really have a question or anything to add other than just agreeing with everything that everybody has said so far.
I like that. I like when you agree, and I like that you pointed out that you need to have rewards and you need to have vacations. I want to go to Diane Mills. Diane, I know you're building a team with Matt and Ross, and you guys are always meeting and so forth. How important is it to be able to have conversations with like-minded people so that you don't feel alone, you don't feel like you're doing it all yourself or getting burnt out? What do you do mentally to make sure that you don't burn out in this business?
Well, for me, I exercise religiously. I have a routine, and I get up very early in the morning. I also go to bed like at 8:00 at night sometimes too.
Sometimes Diane falls asleep when you're talking to her.
There's the other part of me that just is out cold in any venue if I need the rest, okay? And this is like a gift that God has given me to be able to rest whenever I need to on demand. But I really think balance is key. And believe me, I am a AAA personality, so I fight it because I am a worker and I just never want to stop, and my mind never turns off. And I have to really be very intentional about carving time to kind of decompress. And I think we have to refuel. And then I constantly try to reach out to people and learn from others. I just think that's the key. Aligning with people that really do have your same goals in mind and value system and everything else. And I'm always reaching out to Matt and Ross all the time, and other people, including Dennis and you and whoever, David Lawson. I lean on everyone for advice and advisement, and I feel grateful just to be able to have all these resources in talent. The talent pool in here is so immense, and I think we all have to try to leverage each other's gifts because we all have different things to bring to the table to help us all grow. So That's key for me. That's key for me.
And I think that's great, Diane. That's great info. And Diane, like all of us, we all lean on each other. I'll tell you a quick story. So we were on our way to Scottsdale, and Diane was asking me about my multiple teams and how it was going and so forth. So I started telling her the story about how I was trying to get the new team up and running in Nashville and really get it consistent. And all of a sudden, she just kind of started sliding, and she was on my shoulder. I realized for the last 10 minutes she was asleep, kind of looking forward with her eyes closed and not even listening to my answer. So it was very significant to me at that moment. You know, Diane did lean on me, but she leaned on me to fall asleep. So look, it's not always going to be fireworks and rainbows in real estate. Just remember that you're going to have good days and bad days. You got to flip the switch. And when you feel that you're missing something, write it down. Write down how you feel. Right? Get it off your chest, write it down. And then you can always revisit it later. You know exactly where it is, or you can find a solution. There's always a solution, or you have a community or a family here that you can reach out to, and we will all help you. So that's super important to understand. Hey, Marianne, I want to go to the great north. I know Marianne's up there. She's probably freezing up in Calgary. Tell me, have you experienced this in your career? You've had a long, great career in real estate. I'm sure you've come across this at times where you've either felt like you've gotten into a funk or you needed some help or where to turn to. How did you solve that? What did you do?
Well, Pete, thank you for reaching out to me right now. I remember the first time I joined EXP, and it was like October, I believe, and then you had EXP Con in Vegas. I went into EXP Con in Las Vegas my first year joining EXP, having to put on 9 listings and make that transition and go to EXP Con. And I remember seeing everybody there so organized, and people are attending all the meetings, and I went in like, oh my God, I can't believe I went to work having to work. Like I had to work at the same time. So now that I'm at EXP and everything from the groups and seeing people at 10 o'clock every Thursday, that's terrific. And I see how others are handling things and whatnot. That was crazy for me to go to EXP Con and have to work. So you do have to take that time. Calgary is a slower market. It's going to pick up incredibly, I think, for this year. We have a lot of things people are starting to list. We have an early spring here. So we're getting fooled by our weather. We actually have good weather, Pete. I think we're getting -4 this week coming up, but we've had +13 or 15 even on some days. So it was like you go out on the boardwalk on the river, on the Bow River, and everybody's walking, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, heat wave.
That is a heat wave. It's very balmy up there right now.
Yeah.
Marianne, I'm surprised you didn't go outside in just a bathing suit and walk around.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I've been outside for sure, like everybody. And yeah, our skiing here has been, people are coming from all over. The roads are packed. You may have seen our ski joring. And so the public is really feeling some relief with our weather. So I think that they're getting an early spring to say, I want to list. And buyers are buying a few things from me, which is wonderful. But I do know that I booked EXP Con for Paris. And I am taking everybody's advice today. And I do need to do things with all of you because that's where I enjoy my business. It truly is. It's like I enjoy so much being with everybody and listening to you and seeing what Cameron has to say, or David and Dennis and the girls as well, Karina and everybody. So it's been really good for me that way. For Thursdays at 10 are my stress release for my job. I have a closing today, but I'm so glad the guy can't meet me till 1:30 because I'm like, oh, good. I got Pete and the gang at 10 o'clock. So it's important.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's important because it sets a foundational mindset, right? If you schedule things in, you guys, you're saying to the universe your intentions that it's going to happen. I am going to show up. I am going to complete this goal. And if you're getting overwhelmed and you don't have an assistant right now in your business, before you go in your house, the night before. Write down 3 things you want to accomplish before 9 a.m. the next morning. Write them on a pad of paper, leave it in your car, okay? And then the next night before you go home, look at that pad of paper and say, did I complete those 3 things? If you did, check them off, move on to a clean sheet. If you didn't, carry it over onto that sheet for the next day and put it as number 1 that you have to get done by 9. Because if you can complete 3 things in your business before 9 a.m., that's a successful day. That's how you have to look at that. And it's small wins. You know, like I always say to all the agents around me, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's small wins. If you ever heard a marathon runner talk about their mental mindset while they're running, it's just to get to the next marker point or the next 100 yards. They're not looking at, you know, the 26.3 miles or whatever, 26.2 miles that they're running. It's only to get to the next 10 feet or the next 100 yards. That's how they check their markers, and they have little small victories add up to big victories. That's the key. You know, that's it. That's the big thing. Who else has a question right now on how to prevent burnout and how to scale your business? We have a lot of great people here we'll share with you. And remember, EXPCon 26 is in Michael and Dave's backyard. We're going to have a great party there. And that's in Salt Lake City, October 7th to the 9th. So book it now. Put it in. Set your intention. Don't sit there and say, oh, I might go, or I hope I can go, or I'll try to go. Hope and try are the biggest wars in the English language. Either you do it or you don't do it. That's it. Okay. Anybody else? Any questions? We have 20 minutes left. Yes.
I think John has his hand up.
Yeah.
Oh, go, Johnny. Sorry.
You bet. Okay. So if you were to pick the one thing, and I think you just picked one, write 3 things down for the next day to get accomplished. I'm going to use that for yours. But to the rest of the group, what one thing would you do to increase your accomplishment level, which fights the burnout? I think that's totally opposite. Now, if it's on a scale, it's either accomplishment or burnout. So pick one thing that you would do immediately, or would you recommend somebody in the business that's could be new, could be experienced. And then the next step is, because I'm a learner, where would you go to learn? So that's
Who wants to take it?
I would add something to that. So I think it's really important to always be a student, right? And always be learning. That really keeps me going. And as an example, I was just talking with Diane about this the other day. There's a guy up in Riverside County. His name is Bruce Norris. And he's been he's a real estate investor. He's been an investor for 60 years probably. But the point of the story is he puts on throughout the years, he's put on different seminars talking about timing the market and where the market's going. He wrote a report in 1996, right before I got into real estate, and it was called California Comeback. So if you look back at the market from 90 to 97 was a big downturn in the California real estate market, and I think even nationally, but especially in California. So 96, we were at the bottom of the market, and when you've been in a downturn for 5, 6, 7 years, people start to think it's never going to come back, right? But he wrote a report called the California Comeback in 96, and he said in the next 8 years, real estate values will double in California. And of course, he was right, because then we went on a huge run up. But anyway, he just came out with a new report. He put on a seminar up in Riverside County last Saturday, and it was called Unprecedented. What's happening now has never happened before, and he's talking about where the market's going and what it's doing. So I really get a kick out of those things. But I'll tell you one of the very interesting things that he said in that report. He said real estate transactions and this is just California, but I'm sure it's probably true maybe to a lesser extent on the national level. I think John Facilio, we were talking about this the other day too. But the number of real estate transactions is down 45%. Now that and what he equates that to, he said that's basically like a 45% unemployment rate in the real estate industry. He said if you had 45%, I mean, that's like the Great Depression, right? If you had 45% unemployment. So the point of that story is that And by the way, the reason it's unprecedented is he doesn't see that changing for the next several years because, in a nutshell, you've got a third of the people that own their homes free and clear, and then the other two-thirds of people have refied, right? And so you've got a lot of people with rate lock. And so even if interest rates go down, the number of transactions is going to be down. What that means is we've all got to be, that, and talk about causing burnout, right? It's just there's less of the pie. So a lot of people are going to get out of the business. But for those of us that are going to stay in the business, we have to work that much harder and that much smarter, not necessarily harder, but that much smarter to get our share of those transactions. And if you look at what's happening in the marketplace right now, you see a lot of people that are really slow. You see some people that are absolutely killing it, right? For 2025, they had a great year. Some people had the worst year of their career. And these are people that have been in the business for 20, 30 years, 40 years. Some people had the worst year of their career, and some people had one of the best years of their career. So the good news is it's doable. You can still do very well in this market, but you have to. I think it's a big part of it. You got to really work smarter. You got to use technology, and again, you've just always got to be going after it. You cannot stop. You can't forget that we're in the lead gen business. We're not necessarily in the real estate business. So
I totally agree. I agree with you, Matt. And I think, you determine your own economy, right? One of my big things that I say, you guys, is CYOE, create your own economy. Don't worry about what other people say. Don't worry about what the nightly news says. Don't worry about this statistically what everybody is saying. Ask yourself one question every morning. Am I relevant to the people who need my help? Am I relevant? Am I checking in with them? Am I touching base? Am I providing value? Do I understand the market? Am I connecting with them or am I thinking about them? Because here's what I've learned over the last 34 years. By the way, full disclosure, I started real estate when I was 4 years old. So you do the math, but here's the deal. Good markets, bad markets, people move. Good markets, bad markets, people die. Good markets, bad markets, people get divorced. Good markets, bad markets, people get born. Good markets, bad markets, people downsize. Good markets, bad markets, people upsize. Good markets, bad markets, people diversify. Good markets, bad markets, people do investments. Good markets, bad markets, people buy second and third homes. So where's the problem? Does the problem lie in the market or does it lie in your mindset? That's what you got to look at. It's all perspective and how you approach it. Go ahead, Cam.
Also, you guys, bad markets or technically bad markets, less realtors, they all go out of business, take over market share, get those farms, get those areas. People that were dominating for years have went out of business or they've retired. It's up to you guys. You can do it.
Love it. Catherine Black, go ahead.
I was thinking, okay, because very often, even though last year I had my best year, I still wake up with a knot in my stomach. Yeah, with a knot in my stomach, like, okay, how am I going to get my next business, right? And one thing I realize really calms me down and shift my mood of being stressed and worried is going to caravans. And that's free. Because you know what? You connect to other people, there is energy, you are learning something, it's opening up, doors, you are pitching your buyers, you are getting leads, and suddenly you are like back on. I'm not stressed anymore. I'm like, oh, I need to follow up with this, I need to do that. Oh, so I feel that's one thing I don't see a lot of agents do. And I feel they are missing out because you are also connecting with other agents when they get to know you. And then when you send them an offer, they choose you because they know you. But essentially, it just brings me energy, just like coming on this, on the Zoom. And to do it early every morning. So every morning I have something else. I start either with Pilates or with a Zoom or walking on the beach, but I have to have something which gets me out of bed, which is going to energize me. And then I feel it sets me up on a great, journey, positive journey, even though honestly, I wake up in the morning stressed, So that's my 2 cents. And another thing I realize helps me, it's to absolutely challenge myself to do new things. And a lot of things I'm doing new is because of you guys, because you have been giving ideas. Like, for example, Matt, the magazine you do to farm, I decided I'm going to start that. It's coming out in April. I started Fellow just a couple of days ago. That's something else you guys mentioned. So by challenging myself of trying new things, it gives me that energy as well. Like, okay, I'm making it happen. And then the stress goes away. So that's what I wanted to inject.
Yeah, and also, guys, listen, it is stressful. I know there's times you sit there and you say, well, I don't have the money or the ability, or economically it's going to stress me out. That's what credit cards are for. I'm not trying to validate putting everything on your credit card, but at some point you have to make a commitment and you have to reverse engineer this, and you have to start with the result. Start with the result that you want and work backwards, right? Don't start with the anxiety or, oh my God, I'm going to jump off this cliff and put all my money out there and I hope that it works. No, it is going to work. This is the result I'm going to get for the investment I'm going to make. And you have to believe in it and you have to work it, right? Just like Catherine said, if you're around like-minded people, you're around the right energy. Motion creates emotion. Energy creates energy, right? If you are not going to caravans or you're not seeing houses every day, you're missing the boat right now in this market, because it's really difficult to sell in a very authentic way without seeing the inventory. You hear me? I'm going to say it again. It's very difficult to sell something in an authentic way when you haven't seen it. You can pretend all you want. It sends a message to the consumer that I'm either not in touch with the market or I was too lazy to go see it. I don't care if you drive by it. I don't care if you walk around it. Don't get shot by the tenants or the people who live there, but it's going to create energy. And you have to get people excited because everybody's nervous about everything right now. You have to be the grounding force that gets them moving and gets them motivated. It takes one step, you guys. One step creates another step, creates another step. Keep it moving. And they're all going to say the same thing. I have plenty of time. I don't need to buy right now. I need to buy by the end of the year. This and that. Say, that's interesting. Why is that? And how is that going to benefit you? What's the reason behind it? If I found you a phenomenal opportunity today that you could take advantage of and it would benefit not only you and your life, but your legacy, you're not going to move forward on it? Ask the right questions. Get people going. Be excited. People will feed off your excitement. Do we have any other questions? We're at 9:51. We have 9 minutes left before Diane Mills falls asleep. She has to take a nap this morning, right? Numero uno, do you have any questions? You look like you're looking at me from Mexico. I would love for somebody to ask a question.
I got something to keep in mind, and this is not a question, but something that I learned a long time ago in 2009 when we had our last market correction. And maybe this will help someone that's on this call today. I'll be real brief. But at this event, there was about 2,000 agents. It's one of the largest conventions I've ever been to in terms of realtors. The whole place was packed. It was great. The agents were all struggling, like I think a lot of people are struggling with. Man, the market's tough. They're letting all that outside influence affect their mind, and then they don't do the consistency and do the work. So the trick, the number one trick, was to go out and purchase, because most people's goals are financially based. If they're not, God bless you. We can talk about that later or a different time. But if you are financially based goals, go out and buy that thing. Go out and commit yourself today, because then guess what you got to do tomorrow? You got to go pay it off. You got to work tomorrow. And that is the single biggest thing that a lot of people do, is they have the paralysis of analysis. If you go out and purchase that $80,000 or $120,000 car today, now guess what? You got to pay for it. And that'll make it for tomorrow. You need to make sure you're doing the things you need to do. I see we have a question. So that was just something that we learned many years ago that has stuck with me forever, because when the markets change or it's more challenging, people want to give up when you need to give more.
I love it. Good advice. AA, what's your question?
Hi. Good morning. I was wondering, I think there's been a lot of hype about or chat in the chat about Cam's computer being able to delegate different actions and such. So is there a way that we could get Cam to take on one of our meetings or something like that so we can learn more about some of these AI tools that he's got in his bag?
Absolutely.
Let's
guys.
do what best AI tools to use next week. How about that? And we'll let Cam start it off. Right after he gets off the beach and puts on his sunscreen, we'll let him. We'll release him to all of us and get him going.
You're gonna love it.
I like that. That's a great idea. Anybody else want to add anything? We have 7 minutes left.
Pete, I have a quick question.
Yes.
This is Patsy Romero.
Hi, Patsy Romero.
I know this has been talked about in other meetings, but I probably wrote it down at some point, but can't find my old notes. But what would be the most effective CRM program that you all would recommend that could touch clients, remind us of birthdays, anniversaries, things like that could be autopilot?
It's a great question.
That's my question.
I mean, my answer, if I can take that, it's the one that you use. Everybody says that. It's the one that you use, and we have a lot of different options out there, but if you're using it religiously, it'll be effective. I think that's a great question for Bobby, who's probably one of the best people I've ever seen with a CRM. Dennis, he's got his hand up. What are you going to say, Dennis?
Well, Pete, you told me this a long time ago. Just put everybody's birthdays in your phone. That's all I do. So if that helps you at all, Patsy, just put it in your phone as a yearly reminder. And I put it at 5 a.m. and I'm always the first one to wish somebody a happy birthday. Works awesome.
So follow-up boss is a good one.
Yeah, because I'm also looking to be able to send out marketing pieces like on a regular basis. That's also what I'm looking for.
Well, I think it's just you have to set that up. A lot of the marketing pieces and so forth, I would set up with a third vendor and have them and commit to it. And when you commit to it, if you're going to do direct mail, commit to it for 24 months. If you're going to do postcards, commit to it for 24 months. If you're going to do little neighborhood magazines, commit to it for 24 months. Catherine used to be in that business. I'm dying to hear what she has to say. Go ahead, Catherine.
So I just want to say, just recently, I started with Fellow, Fello. And basically what they do, they basically will reach out through your CRM data to your past clients and in many different ways, but also they will let you know who is most likely to sell. So my assistant, like once a week, gives me a list of these past clients of mine. And it's great because it makes me call them. And then I kind of figure out if in fact they are ready to sell or not. But essentially it's just giving me obligation, if you will, to actually reach out to them. But they also send marketing pieces. My understanding, it's brand new, so I don't know all about it, but I think it's not so much what CRM you are using, but what you are adding to it, which I think you should look into Fellow and see if that will be a match for you. Yeah.
That's great advice. Just touch upon that. Catherine used to own a magazine, you guys, and she did a lot of marketing and advertising. What did you use to advise the people who would advertise in your magazine? What was the timeline? What was the commitment?
So my magazine was a coupon magazine. It would come every 2 months, and they had like 140 restaurants, and then one hairdresser, one dry cleaner. It was kind of a community magazine. The way I was selling it is that I was able to let them know they will get coupons back and they will be able to measure the response. So in my new magazine that I'm going to do now for real estate, for farming, my neighborhood, I am going to include like spotlight of one restaurant, spotlight of one boutique, maybe per issue with a coupon. So I want to, because that's how people keep a marketing piece. You know, the coupon is really what people, then they're not throwing it right away like, oh, there's a coupon in there. So I'm going to highlight businesses of my neighborhood, but I'm going to ask them, hey, this is going to be free to you. I'm just going to ask you that you agree to do a coupon. And when it comes to coupons, it has to be a strong value. So it has to be a free dinner with purchase of another entree of equal or greater value and 2 beverage and an expiration date of 2 months. And if it's retail, it has to be at least 20% off or $1 amount off or free item with purchase of. So if you ever want to do coupons in what marketing you are doing, call me. I definitely did it for 20 years and it was a very successful magazine.
Yeah, if you guys want a successful campaign that's going to get you immediate business, go to Costco before Saturday morning, either tomorrow or Saturday morning, buy, 10 things of heart-shaped chocolates, 10 things of champagne. It might run you a few $100. Go see your top 10 clients. Tell them that you were thinking about them and how sweet they are in your life and how they add value and how, you really appreciate everything they do for you, and drop that off and just be relevant and don't ask for anything else. And I guarantee you they will repay you sometime this year with a sale that will pay for that 100x.
Yeah.
That's a quick tip right there. It doesn't take a lot of time. It takes a little bit of effort. And when you take effort, people recognize that as meaningful and authentic, and it connects you to them. And guess what? They want you to win. They want to help you, because as humans, when you drop something off or you get belly to belly, even if they're not there and you leave it and you follow up and say, sorry, I missed you, right? Because there's a lot of things going on Valentine's Day. They'll repay you. It's human nature. You want to reciprocate back to that person for being so kind to you or for thinking of you. And look, a lot of people have different challenges right now, and most of their brains are a scary place. You don't even want to go there. But just that little gesture could make somebody's day, week, month, year, and you never know where somebody's at. And you can lift them up and they will lift you up in return. So that's my message. We're at the top of the hour. Listen, great mastermind. Like I said, next week, invite 2 people. You guys, there's a ton of agents out there struggling. There's a ton of agents trying to put transactions together and trying to balance their life. Urge them to get on this. We're only trying to help. Let's see what we can do and let's figure it out. Okay. Happy Valentine's Day. Everybody have a great weekend.
Merci.
Great seeing you guys.
Merci beaucoup.
Bye, guys.
Merci beaucoup.
Libby.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.